It's Black History Month, which means it's also 28 days of Black cosplay. And every year I'd like to do something to give back to the community that helped uplift me, specifically the Black cosplay community, as they were my first supporters. And this year I decided to take on a pretty ambitious project where I would be interviewing and collecting videos and personal statements from cosplayers and allowing them, I don't know how to respectfully phrase this, but just sharing what these people have shared with me. And that's what this video is. This is not my video. This is not their video, but I feel like this video is at least a collective listening to the perspectives of so many different people. And I really can't wait to share it with you guys. It's been a minute in the making. It had a lot of work behind the scenes, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I enjoy hearing the perspectives of anyone. I just want to let you guys know that this video is one of those videos where you can watch it as a podcast or you can watch it visually. I'm not the greatest with editing, but it's more so to retain information, if that makes sense. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
My name is Quinn, and I go by Quinn in the cosplay community. My username on Instagram is Instagram and TikTok is also quintessential, so QUIN.tessential, but with 3s instead of the E's. Tried to be a little cute with the username. Yeah, I'm so excited for this. Oh my god.
I'm honey.bunny.cos on Instagram and TikTok.
Hi, my name is Persephone, also known as Mama Stuff on the internet, and a fun fact about me and my cosplayers is that one, I think this is my 3rd or 4th year doing this, and second, throughout these 3 or 4 years, I've only ever used my natural hair to cosplay, like many other people, but you know, that's different protective styles and different, you know, accessories that's usually only ever seen in Black culture, like you see today.
It's Vinny, aka Mochi. My social media is on Insta, mochi.roll.cosplay, and I believe it's the same on TikTok as well too, but those are the main 2 social medias that I do post my content at.
Perfect. Wonderful.
What's going on, y'all? My name is Claude Monet. My cosplay name is Sinfluencer, and I've been cosplaying since about 2011, 2010, so a long time. So what's up, y'all?
Cosplay came to me at a time where I was looking for something fun to do during COVID. I love seeing the cool cosplays on my For You page, and I wanted to do it too, especially after seeing a Black cosplayer in the sea of white cosplayers. It then became a space for me to go make friends, go outside my comfort zone, and improve the craft I loved. There's so many connections that I would never bring formed if I never took interest in cosplay. Growing up as a teenager in a predominantly white space, I didn't think I was allowed to cosplay, and the people around me mainly agreed. I watched creators like Kira Please, Shalani, and Afro Cocoa Puffs who did curly cosplay and were proud and seen for what they were doing. It took me going to my first convention in 2021 at Anime NYC to finally cosplay, and the rest is history. I cosplay for the little girl who felt like she couldn't. I love cosplay since it's a way for me to bring my skills to the next level. There's always going to be a new character that I want to cosplay, so I'm always looking for a different way to make things and improve upon. It's also just a fun and silly time overall. Some of my greatest experiences have been in cosplay with friends.
I'm a cosplayer simply because I can enjoy it while just being my full true self. And that's also what I really like about being a cosplayer and why I love cosplay, because I can really transform into characters that I either relate to, that I can see parts of myself in, that I just really like, that I just find just really cool, and I can just do it in a way that I like it. Like, you don't have to do it in a specific way where everybody else will like it. You just do it in a way where I like it, where I can enjoy it.
I'm a cosplayer because I love picturing what intricate outfits would look like on a real person. I mainly cosplay from anime, manga, and video games, not from animated TV shows. Cosplay is amazing because there's so much you can do. You can style the hair differently in ways to represent both you and the character. You could customize the cosplay to suit you a little more, or even wear a closet cosplay inspired by the character. Pay homage to them without breaking the bank. Cosplay is so versatile, and you don't have to wear official cosplays to be able to do it. I'm a cosplayer because I enjoy it as a hobby, and I like being able to transform into someone else for a day or a few hours.
I'm a cosplayer because I like to play dress up, plain and simple. But seriously, I've always loved playing dress up back when I was young. And it didn't have to be Halloween for me to go grab one of my princess dresses and make everybody in that house play pretend with me. But I'm so glad that as I got older, that passion didn't die. just the passion of dressing up. I still do it to this day. I make videos, I go to conventions, and it's always a grand old time. And why I love cosplay is because it allows everybody to open up their creative minds. I went to school for art, so whenever I see other art just out in the world, and specifically at conventions, it's always a blessing. It's overwhelming, but it's such a blessing to see, whether you made your cosplays from scratch or bought them. Just seeing everybody do a cosplay in their own way, it's such a beautiful thing.
I became a cosplayer when I was 13 to 14 years old after some friends of mine introduced me / invited me to go to an anime convention in 2013. At the time, I wasn't sure what cosplay was until I realized that it was about having fun. What makes me love cosplay is the fact that I can share the same excitement over a certain character, acting as that character, respectfully of course, and interacting / making friends with people at conventions or online. I also found that I end up opening doors for people who felt like they could not cosplay or know where to start cosplaying. Has been an important part of my life, and I wouldn't change it for anything.
It was about like 5 or 6 years ago. One of my friends, like a couple of friends of mine, we went to a convention and they were cosplaying. I was just in my normal clothes, and for some reason, like, I'm an artist. I love to draw and everything, and I never really like see cosplay as a creative outlook until like I went to that convention with them, and I was just like, it's another like avenue of my creativity that I want to express. So like I was just like, you know what, the another convention that I was going to go with next with them, say fuck it, we're gonna dress up, and I had so much fun during that convention. It was really fun. So another reason like is for like getting into the after going to that convention in cosplay, I just felt like the urge to like start doing a lot more as like, start getting myself into the hobby. And it was all just fun, the shits and giggles. I never wanted to like take it seriously, but it was another thing that I wanted to do. So yeah.
I love the cosplay community that makes the experience unforgettable. Seeing people love the same things as you, complimenting, etc. I love that we have the space to feel comfortable without feeling judged. I first started cosplaying on TikTok and would get hate comments because of it. I went to my first convention last year, 2024, and fell in love with it so much more. I've been to 3 conventions this year, 2025, and the friends that I've made, the actors I've met, I just love that we have a community to be ourselves. I do still get comments that I don't post on TikTok as much as I used to, but I've made my first cosplay Instagram. I only have 2 posts on there right now, but I love cosplay because it shows another side of me that people don't know about. Thank you so much.
So the main reason I'm a cosplayer is because I just love being creative. Outside of cosplay, I'm a double music major. I'm in music ed and cello performance, so I've always had that creative spark inside me wanting to make art with sometimes not tangible things, and cosplay just kind of spoke to me a lot, especially since like when I was 9 or 10, I started it was just really silly, but I would start getting up at maybe like 5 in the morning to get ready for the day, get all the things done, and then at 6 a.m. on the dot, I'd turn on the TV to this like channel where it would play like anime, so like Sonic X, Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball, and I'd just sit there and watch. My parents would come in at maybe like 8 in the morning and be like, why are you up? And I'm like, my show is on.
Cosplaying is such a fun way to express yourself. As a person who has always wanted to be a clothing designer, I've always loved creating my own things. Finding other ways of showing my love for making things gives me so much joy.
I started doing cosplay. I was really hyper on the internet. I did a lot of Gaia Online. I did a lot of like RuneScape. I was really into Black Butler when it had first come out with all of my friends. We were role playing. So cosplay was just like a natural progression for me. I had been drawing, making my own OCs. I was like the president of the anime club in high school. So yeah, cosplaying just came natural. New York City Comic Con was my home con before it was like nut to butt back to back. So me and my friends I remember going to school in cosplay on a Friday and then going to the con at the Jacob Javits Center. So yeah, I think it was just a natural progression of my hobbies, the things that I enjoyed doing, and just the people around me. And obviously I haven't given it up since.
Everything. I love that it's a safe space and that we can cosplay anything.
Honestly, and this may come off a little arrogant, my favorite part of being a Blerd is being able to embrace my blackness and be like, yes, because I'm Blasian. My dad's side of the family is African American, and my mom's side of the family is Asian Indian. And so I just take both sides of myself and just put them into my cosplays. Be like, hey, I'm here, and I look good doing it.
You get to see the nuanced ways and add your own twist to things. I love to see how people are able to relate and connect their blackness through media consumed, and it's such an awesome crossover that allows open-endedness on each end. Probably the community I found. I got interested in cons and cosplay from my dad, and since I found more Black/POC spaces, the support and acceptance is overwhelming, especially coming from the standpoint of being mixed and never feeling like I properly fit in with any race.
Honestly, I would say like the community in general, like even though you will understand when you're in like quote unquote the stereotypical Black household, if you don't like really think like-minded, they will like not, well, I would say ostracize you in some places, but a lot of people will think that is weird. So being in that same, like in the community where different like people who like a certain hobby, it makes you like, feel like it's basically like a safe space to me to like, feel more comfortable with my own skin, even though like, in the world that we're in right now, it's kind of crazy, but it's another like, safe space for me to like express myself without like being the stereotypical Black person.
The community. I find that we're all just nerds here to have fun, and everyone has fun in their own way, and it's always the joy to see people enjoying themselves.
I really like being a Black nerd because there's like this extra like energy to it, like this extra like good vibe to it. Because even though Blerds go through a lot of like racism and judgment, even within the community for liking certain things like anime and comics, we still have this like extra uniqueness about us, and I really like that. And I like that I can share that with people by wearing like curly wigs and like possibly having like braids and like locks incorporated in my cosplays. It makes me feel really happy.
Mm-hmm. I agree completely with like sharing the uniqueness. I love the creativity and the community it brings. I'm in such awe a lot of the time when it comes to wig makers, Black crafters in this community. It always puts a smile on my face whenever I see us at cons or even on social media thriving. I feel like the fact that there's so many characters in media being non-POC in the USA, or just non-Black in general, means that the minute someone decides to be a character that isn't insert Black/POC here, all of a sudden it's inaccurate. But the fact that people will cosplay characters whose Blackness is a part of how they live and experience things, and so all of a sudden it's okay, the double standard put on for Black people and anyone else is very unfair. I don't like the fact that people try to say, but I love this Black character, and then proceed to treat Black people like garbage. I don't understand how doing blackface isn't okay. 100% yes. I'd even like to take it a step further and say if you're conventionally attractive by societal standards, i.e. not plus size, not Black, of average or taller height, etc., you already have an advantage over Black cosplayers for social media reach. I've met too many Black people who say they cannot cosplay certain characters because they're white or Asian. I've seen too many racist comments on TikTok or Instagram videos of Black cosplayers because they're cosplaying a white fictional character. This has gone way out of hand, and it's demonstrating for the Black community to know that it's a grand scheme of things, we don't have any sort of advantage in cosplay, and we're expected to cosplay just Black or dark skinned characters because of accuracy.
Oh, definitely. There is, even though like I said, the last question, we're still nerds, no matter what background we're coming with, ethnicity, gender, whatever. I feel like with Blerds, it's a little much harder just because that we're Blerds in general, because we're Black people. Like, there's some people in this world, especially in the anime community, especially in like the cosplay community. Ooh, especially like with recent events that happened. Yeah, like it's a little rough. It's a little rough. So for like example, like we had a whole nother talk in the big 2025 of don't do fucking blackface in cosplay or just in general, because there was a person that cosplay you're reaching, and this cosplayer I believe is European, and she is fair skinned, and she literally was doing brown like blackface basically, and her boyfriend was the photographer defending her, which is fucking wild. That should piss me the fuck off, because I was just like, you can take off that, but we can't take off our skin. So
Pretty obviously, but the racism, fetishization, since I'm a black woman, I've either hated or loathed my skin color and the difference in my hair, or made to seem exotic by others. I get called slurs probably once a week, but the comments that irritate me the most are, I would make an N-word joke, but you're too pretty to do that. Nice cosplay. It pisses me off so bad because their racism because they find me attractive. It's gross.
Yes, absolutely. And what that really boils down to is the concept of belonging. You know, when non-black people enter field, and for the sake of what this video is, when they enter the cosplaying field or just being a nerd field, they don't have to justify their presence. They can just exist, do whatever the hell they want, and they can call it a day. Whereas we have to justify our presence. We have to justify why we are fans of the things that we do, and why we do specific things when we cosplay. We have to deal with the gatekeeping. We have to deal with backhanded compliments. And not only that, we have to deal with accuracy debates with people, but we also have to deal with the representation pressure. You know, every time we touch a cosplay and we cosplay from whatever, we become representation for that. And I think it's a beautiful thing to be representation, but when you think about it, you're only representation because you're the black version of a character. You're never just seen as the character, unless the character you're cosplaying is black, which we don't have many characters that look like us. So we deal with a lot. It's a lot of pressure, but I wouldn't do anything different than what I'm doing now. I like what I do, I like how I do it, and I'm gonna be here for a very long time.
Definitely. I've walked into events where people thought I was lost or wouldn't be able to understand the theme just because I simply did not look like the type to get in. You get things explained to you like you're dumb, treated as you're somehow ruining everyone else's experience by just existing. Get told not to make it about you or your people, etc. Yes, I'd say so. While I haven't experienced it personally, I've seen a lot of black cosplayers getting harassed just for the color of their skin, whereas non-black/fair-skinned cosplayers do not receive the same backlash or harassment.
Absolutely. Like besides the regular things that you'd think of when it comes to like racial differences, it's kind of like there's a state of mind you have. I've heard it said a lot, like people who know a lot are often the most like sad people, or they feel like the most like disconnected from people because they feel like they know so much. And I feel like we as just black creatives in general, we know so much about like how we can't escape racism in our hobby or in the real world, and how it all connects together. And that knowledge, while a powerful thing that we can use to educate our community and keep people around us like aware so we can protect each other, it's also really isolating when you feel like you're not connecting with people or you're pushing people away, because it's just like, you know, these things and you want to share them and you want to feel seen and heard, because as humans we want to feel seen. But then that disconnect happens when people who haven't lived your experiences or haven't like are either refusing to understand or just don't understand in general aren't connecting with it. But so beautiful about being a black person in the South, because like there's so many dialects, there's like slang, it's all like, even though heck, I don't even know where my ancestors like came from. I assume like from the motherland somewhere, you know, but like we don't know. And so being able to kind of, even though we're in a space where like colonialism has ruled our lives and like anti-blackness is incredibly rampant in our society and in our like governmental systems, it's a really beautiful thing that even though we're operating in a space that's like predominantly white or predominantly like Eurocentric, you know, we're still able to make our own like dialects. We're able to communicate with each other. Like I have this discussion with some of my friends all the time when we talk about somebody in the South that has said the N-word, whether like the hard R or like the A, like like I try to explain it to them, like, hey, it's not it's just a word thing. It's like this dialect that is connected with this like major trauma, and this is a way like Black folks connect to each other. It's not just like some cool word. Like, yeah, Black people are cool and we say it all the time, like, but that's just, you know, Black people being Black people, always gonna be cool. You know, it's small stuff like that. And I think connecting it back to cosplay too, I'm just yapping, I apologize.
Speak,
But
girl. Speak.
I think Black cosplayers, we have found our own way to communicate with each other, but not verbally, like through our hairstyles, through like jewelry. Because, oh my gosh, I went to con over, I think this last weekend, I went to con and there was this Veressa cosplayer with like the little, she had braided her wig and then braided it again, like kind of how some Mitsuri cosplayers do. And she put like the little braid chains. She did the whole shebang with her wig. And I was sitting here like, girl, this is fire.
Very much. There's a ton of good and bad that you won't miss out on in the non-Black experience. As a Blerd, I've got countless comments saying my interests weren't Black or I want to be another race growing up. I think that being able to trauma bond over that, in a sense, really creates a space for the Black community. That we can use our natural hair or straighten it, that we can do anything with our hair and still have a great cosplay. Definitely. We see more representation now, but there are still people scared of going all in with them. It's refreshing when you see someone written as a character that happens to be Black rather than a Black character. Cosplaying, great for this. You can make characters look like you and still the same character. Yes, it's no secret that colorism shown in Hoyoverse games, but I wish it wasn't, but it is. The way I cosplay, especially Natlan and Simaru characters, shows the curls, coils, and the braids are just as beautiful and can be celebrated. I know when I was posting my Xiao Hong Shu in February, one of the comments that stuck with me is, her braids make it so much more sense for a character. I know, all in all, this isn't everyone's flavor, but every ethnic community has called me slurs in their language, from Russians to Thais to Latinos to Brazilians, but also in those communities, to some, if not most, smile and see the beauty of differences too. I wouldn't say so. I like to cosplay different characters regardless of if my skin matches theirs or not. As a mainly Hoyoverse cosplayer, I'm not used to seeing people in that media I enjoy, which really sucks for me. And I've been wishing for more representation from Hoyoverse games, but it's just wishful thinking at this point, unfortunately.
Because for certain medias, the lack of representation is kind of like, let's say Genshin, for example. Like we see some of these characters, like they'll take inspiration from certain nations, but they'll still be kind of like a blank slate. Like people from, like, let's say from Mondstadt, and if I wanted to cosplay like let's say I want to cosplay Jean, right? Like, not saying she's a blank slate, she's got like German influence and all the things, but in terms of like, it's not totally obvious. And I think that's the beautiful thing about just cosplaying in general. Like, we have a lot of blank slates with our characters, or blank slates, not much to work with. And we as Black cosplayers, and we see it all the time with jewelry, with hairstyles, with headcanons, with all these things, and we're able to put representation back into it. It's a whole thing though, which kind of annoys me when people are like, oh, just make your own characters. Well, there are people that exist in real life, like Black Germans exist, guys. Afro-French folks exist. Like, 2 + 2 is 4. Do your math.
Math ain't adding up.
There's so few Black characters compared to non-Black characters, specifically white characters, because they're the majority in the US. Sometimes it feels like you need to cosplay a Black character from time to time so you don't seem like you're trying to be the race that you are not. Show more representation for us, especially for young Black cosplayers who are just getting started out.
Well, yes. Anytime I see, hear, think the word representation, I think of a quote like instantaneously by Zeno Robinson. And you know who that is? You've heard him in anime, you've heard him in cartoons, you've seen him in a sitcom lately, you've heard him in an audiobook lately, right? Anyways, way back in 2020, he and Danny Chambers, who is another black voice actress, did an interview about colorblind casting, and this was the following question. Why is it important to hear black voices even though we can't see the black actors portraying the characters? And Zeno responded with, representation is a reflection. People like to see themselves in the things that they consume because they take things away from it. So, applying that quote to this question, do I feel representation in media has influenced the way I cosplay? Yes, absolutely. And that comes from not seeing myself represented in these characters physically in anime. But these attributes of these characters I do see myself in. Like, for instance, Toru, I see myself in her all the time. So when I cosplay her, it's like I'm reclaiming that, you know. But it's not just the popular media that I also feel has influenced my cosplays. It's also more the indie works that we all are doing. For instance, Zeno Robinson has a manga that he's working on called Memento Mori. One of his characters, Ashel, inspired me so much that I built an entire cosplay of that character and had the privilege of showing him that cosplay. That inspired me. Even the media we see on social media, like the people you're seeing in this video, they also inspire me. So all these different forms of media are important, not just for, you know, inspiring each other, but just to show support for one another as well.
Maybe, but mostly no. I've always been inspired by the character accuracy I saw in cosplay competition stuff, so my personal goal has always been to look as much as the character as possible, aside from my skin tone. Ain't nothing I can do about that one. I do feel sometimes I feel more inclined to cosplay characters that look like me, just because of the accuracy would be so much better. But I don't let media representation decide who I cosplay. I try to just cosplay who I want and who I like the most because that's where I find the most joy.
I feel like the fact that there's so many characters in media being non-POC in the USA, or just non-black in general, means that the minute someone decides to be a character that isn't, insert black/POC here, all of a sudden it's inaccurate. But the fact that people will cosplay characters whose blackness is a part of how they live and experience things, and so all of a sudden it's okay. The double standard put on for black people and anyone else is very unfair. I don't like the fact that people try to say, but I love this black character, and then proceed to treat black people like garbage. I don't understand how doing blackface isn't okay.
My profile have thankfully been relatively safe from this, but in person, oh definitely. If you get a whiff of melanin in you, someone will have a problem with you and make it known. It can be difficult not to adopt someone else's misery, but ultimately, you aren't what people think of you, or what you make yourself out to be.
Oh, definitely. There is, even though, like I said, the last question, we're still nerds, no matter what background we're coming with, ethnicity, gender, whatever. I feel like with Blerds, it's a little much harder just because that we're Blerds in general, because we're black people. Like, there's some people in this world, especially in the anime community, especially in like the cosplay community. Ooh, especially like with recent events that happened. Yeah, like it's a little rough. It's a little rough. So, for like example, like we had a whole nother talk in the big 2025 of don't do fucking blackface in cosplay, or just in general, because there was a person that cosplay you're reaching, and this cosplayer, I believe, is European, and she is fair skinned, and she literally was doing blackface basically, and her boyfriend was the photographer defending her, which is fucking wild. That shit pissed me the fuck off, because I was just like, you can take off that, but we can't take off our skin. So
I've gotten a few negative comments on TikTok, just making funny jokes about my race. To cope, I tell myself that it's all jealousy and insecurity.
So obviously, as a black person in this community, I did experience racism. I think I have a pretty unique take on it because from being popular on TikTok, just kind of coming up, I was on cosplay.com. I was telling my friends, I think I'm the first person to cosplay Hana Fellows, like the first black person. Anyway, let me get out of that. But still, like, I've been on cosplay.com. I've been on all these sites, like, from day one, when people were doing lolcow, when people were making fun of people for cosplaying. And I'm not going to say that it didn't hurt me, but I built tough skin for it. My parents raised me in a way where they were just like, how can someone make fun of you for doing something that you love? And I do think that we do need to be kinder to people, but there's always going to be somebody out there who thinks that your cosplay is not good, who's going to make fun of you for being black, who's going to make fun of you for not having a wig. Like, it's continuous, even to this day. And I just ignore them. I delete it. That's my advice, dead serious, because I'm enjoying myself. I don't need a miserable person who just doesn't know. Usually they're not cosplayers. Usually they don't even have a profile picture. You're miserable, and I'm out here cosplaying, having fun. So who's lost? You know? So that's my advice. Don't listen to these losers. They're dweebs. Like, why listen to somebody who sucks? Listen to everybody else who's giving you love and appreciation. Make friends in the community, and you'll never even be able to be touched by these people. That's my advice. Just F them.
I have experienced racism online with people quoting insert characters not black and other horrible messages about my skin, or when I spoke out about something affecting black cosplayers. And at the time, especially when I was a teenager, it was disheartening. At one point, I was close to stop cosplaying a character I still love till this day. However, I was able to find coping mechanism with music therapy and from my caring family and friends. And all of you. I knew that I couldn't stop doing what I love, and to support people who might have had similar experiences to me. Yes, many times, online especially. I've been bridged by trolls, I've gotten death threats, people have celebrated my failures quite publicly just because they don't like that I'm a black woman cosplay. It hurts sometimes, as much as I like to pretend that it doesn't, but I see it for what it is. A lot of this anger is harbored by jealousy. I usually get hate comments mad most people are complimenting me positively. I feel like people think I'm owed hatred, so jarred when it doesn't happen. Then on top of it, they think the biggest insult is being black. No comment, no reason why. Just, well, you're black, so I'm better than you. This just shows how insecure they are at the end of the day. People with inferiority complexes need to feel superior just because of the color of their skin when 99.999% of those people don't even have the courage to cosplay or post their face online. Yeah, I will say that I was kind of thankful it was online, not Instagram though, so at least it was easy to block and report them all. But it was still hard for me to deal with all the things people are too comfortable saying behind their keyboard, calling me names, telling jokes, or just straight up insulting me. Even when the character I cosplayed was brown skinned, they found some way to belittle and insult me. It honestly got me a little scared and to try to build a bigger online presence, which is kind of a big deal for me because I really want to give the whole professional artist cosplay thing a shot. Those cosplay posts were my only posts on that side, out of any post on any site ever, to actually get popular, and I face so much hate just because I'm black. So now, every time I post, rare as that is, there's a voice in the back of my head telling me that they'll come back if I start to get popular. I get so much anxiety around it. I try to cope by reminding myself that even though I get so much hate, there's far more love. There were even people who tried to help defend me from the racist comments. There are kinds of people out there in a crowd that like to do what I like to do. So one day, when I decide to give this wholeheartedly a try, I know that there are people who will love to see me do what I love.
Yes, absolutely. And what that really boils down to is the concept of belonging. You know, when non-black people enter field, and for the sake of what this video is, when they enter the cosplaying field or just being a nerd field, they don't have to justify their presence. They can just exist, do whatever the hell they want, and they can call it a day. Whereas we have to justify our presence. We have to justify why we are fans of the things that we do and why we do specific things when we cosplay. We have to deal with the gatekeeping. We have to deal with backhanded compliments. And not only that, we have to deal with accuracy debates with people, but we also have to deal with the representation pressure. You know, every time we touch a cosplay and we cosplay from whatever, we become representation for that. And I think it's a beautiful thing to be representation, but when you think about it, you're only representation because you're the black version of a character. You're never just seen as the character, unless the character you're cosplaying is black, which we don't have many characters that look like us. So we deal with a lot. It's a lot of pressure, but I wouldn't do anything different than what I'm doing now. I like what I do, I like how I do it, and I'm going to be here for a very long time.
Yes, I'd say so. While I haven't experienced it personally, I've seen a lot of black cosplayers getting harassed just for the color of their skin, whereas non-black / fair skin cosplayers do not receive the same backlash or harassment. As I've already mentioned, there's been a lot of criticism. People have called me burned, told me that my cosplays doesn't suit me, and advised me to cosplay black characters, etc. And it was really hard to handle at first. I had a major crash out, burnout, anxiety, and I wanted to leave the country a lot of the time, only to realize that this problem is universal. So at this point, I just taught myself to ignore the negative comments and pay attention to the positive ones. I found a group chat with friendly people who like my cosplays, and it made me feel much better.
Absolutely. Like besides the regular things that you'd think of when it comes to like racial differences, it's kind of like there's a state of mind you have. I've heard it said a lot, like, people who know a lot are often the most, like, sad people, or they feel like the most, like, disconnected from people because they feel like they know so much. And I feel like we, as just Black creatives in general, we know so much about, like, how we can't escape racism in our hobby or in the real world, and how it all connects together. And that knowledge, while a powerful thing that we can use to educate our community and keep people around us, like, aware so we can protect each other, it's also really isolating when you feel like you're not connecting with people or you're pushing people away, because it's just like, you know these things and you want to share them and you want to feel seen and heard, because as humans we want to feel seen. But then that disconnect happens when people who haven't lived your experiences or haven't, like, are either refusing to understand or just don't understand in general, aren't connecting with it. But so beautiful about being a Black person in the South, because, like, there's so many dialects, there's, like, slang. It's all, like, even though heck, I don't even know where my ancestors, like, came from. I assume, like, from the motherland somewhere, you know, but, like, we don't know. And so being able to kind of, even though we're in a space where, like, colonialism has ruled our lives and, like, anti-Blackness is incredibly rampant in our society and in our, like, governmental systems, it's a really beautiful thing that even though we're operating in a space that's, like, predominantly white or predominantly, like, Eurocentric, you know, we're still able to make our own, like, dialects. We're able to communicate with each other. Like, I have this discussion with some of my friends all the time when we talk about somebody in the South that has said the N-word, whether, like, the hard R or, like, the A, like, and, like, I try to explain it to them, like, hey, it's not it's just a word thing. It's, like, this dialect that is connected with this, like, major trauma, and this is a way, like, Black folks connect to each other. It's not just, like, some cool word. Like, yeah, Black people are cool and we say it all the time, like, but that's just, you know, Black people being Black people, always gonna be cool. You know, it's small stuff like that. And I think connecting it back to cosplay too, I'm just yapping, I apologize.
Speak, girl, speak.
I think Black cosplayers, we have found our own way to communicate with each other, but not verbally, like, through our hairstyles, through, like, jewelry. Because, oh my gosh, I went to con over, I think this last weekend, I went to con and there was this Veressa cosplayer with, like, the little, she had braided her wig and then braided it again, like, kind of how some Mitsuri cosplayers do. And she put, like, the little braid chains. She did the whole shebang with her wig. And I was sitting here like, girl, this is fire!
While not to the extent of other Black cosplayers, I've unfortunately been a victim of racism. When I cosplayed Race Slay for the first time, I started getting a handful of weird comments about my race. The sad part is, I knew at some point I would experience this. It was just sad that it was actually happening to me on a cosplay I adored so much. I thought a number of ways to deal with them, but I ended up screenshotting them and deleting them. I'd rather keep a record and move on than interact and make things worse. Have fun with cosplay, because your enjoyment matters more than everyone else's. Cosplay regardless of whether they look like you. Don't limit yourself or let others limit you. Find crowds that will hype you up, not put you down. Also, on that note, do not be online too much. Not just because of the rampant negativity, but also because comparing yourself with your skills and styles, others all the time, can drain the fun out of it for you. The advice I would give to younger Black cosplayers: do not put yourself in a box when it comes to characters. If you love a character from a certain fandom, cosplay with your heart's content. Do what you think will make you happy and be creative. Although, make sure to take extra mental health breaks when needed. It is okay to take breaks from your work and the online space. Protect your mind, creativity, and peace.
I'll say thrift stores are going to be your best friend. And making do a lot of casual cosplays. That will start get the ball rolling and will save you so much money. I feel like I'm doing that a lot now, doing what I got in my closet and DIYing and modified stuff. That's what I've been doing this year actually, because this year was a very financial year for me. So I was trying to budgeting a lot of things and including cosplay on top of that, and it does stack up quickly. Even though cosplay is fun, but it can be very expensive and a lot first. So I would definitely say thrifting is your best friend. Buying secondhand is another big thing that we should definitely do a lot more. Depop, Mercari, a lot of people do sell their cosplays on those two websites, and I either would put some cosplay stuff that I don't really wearing more on Depop or Mercari, so it can find a new home. So yeah.
Keep trying. You'll make it eventually. Don't let someone tell you that you can't do this because you aren't the correct skin color. You can cosplay whoever you want and still look amazing.
Genuinely be yourself. Do your cosplays the way you want to, not based on what others claim you should do.
I could say, but I'm going to try and condense it into one thing. Be okay with being by yourself. It's, even as somebody who's got a bit of a platform, who is pretty cordial with people in my community, sometimes I feel pretty isolated. And I'm still working on it, being okay with being the only Black person in the group. It's not something I like, and it's something I talk about a lot. Sometimes I recently learned actually that one of my former friends was saying that they strongly disliked me because of how much I talked about racism, and that just kind of stung, Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah, and it made me realize hey, this is my truth. People have genuinely especially during Black History Month, oh goodness, the hate comments will get really bad. I'll get threats in my DMs. People will threaten to dox me. It's bad. It's really bad, and I want my friends to understand that, but also my friends, not being Black, they're not gonna understand that. And I understand absolutely racism is a hard conversation topic, but it's also I can't escape from it, but you can just walk away from me talking about it, and that's really isolating. It's an isolating feeling. And yeah, just being okay with being by yourself, knowing your truth, knowing what you're going through, and not asking for validation from anyone. Your truth, your facts, your life, it's your lived truth, period.
That again.
Thrift. Depop and Mercari can be your best friend if you're looking for correctly, especially higher quality and expensive cosplays. Also research. Just because a cosplay is on Doki Doki, especially the N version, doesn't mean other places are selling the same cheaper cosplay for more. I track Hoyoverse cosplays and I've noticed this phenomenon.
So I have two pieces of advice. My first is to enjoy the full journey, not just the end. Yes, the convention going and the video making, so much fun. You're getting the opportunity to show off what you just made and spent so much time on, but enjoy the full journey. Enjoy the moment the money hit your account for you to afford the material for your cosplay. Enjoy the moment you first tested the costume out. Cosplay is a craft, and these are the moments and these are the reasons why cosplayers continuously cosplay. So enjoy everything. It'll make the ending feel so much better if you do. My second piece of advice from beginner to beginner is don't compare yourself to other people that you see, especially the advanced / professional cosplayers. They've been doing what they've been doing for years. I've only been doing this for 3. So in no way in hell is my cosplay going to be as good as theirs. Allow yourself to have the skills that you have and build upon them. You know, always be proud of the work that you do. Always. You have so much time to build upon those skills and do better in the future. But don't compare yourself, because it's gonna make you not love the craft. So, yeah.
Don't listen to everyone trying to put you down. Always reach out for help, even if it feels like the world is dragging you beneath the surface. As long as you are enjoying yourself and having fun, that's all you need. Don't be scared to reach out to others. A lot of us love finding fellow cosplayers with similar experiences. Don't listen to the haters. I know that it's easier said than done, but people just hate to bring you down. It's not always easy to block out hate, but stepping away for a moment to collect yourself can really help. Take a break from social media if it starts to affect your mental health. Social media isn't worth your mental health. Stay happy and healthy, everyone.
It is basically your best friend when it comes to like making certain costumes. Like you don't have to buy like expensive costumes. You don't have to buy like brand new already made cosplays. You could just like grab a shirt, grab some pants, maybe a belt, maybe a scarf, and like some accessories, and like really make your own thing while also make it recognizable as like that character. And I think that's something a lot of people have to like kind of remember, because some people kind of like they kind of buy cosplays as soon as it's like trendy, or as soon as it's like as like able to, because they think they need to like a new cosplay every single day. But it's just better to just use what you have at your disposal, and also like have like a good tight knit group of friends that you know won't like judge you for this hobby. Because if you like if you find yourself kind of unsure about this, or you're unsure if you're doing a character right, they'll be there to hype you up or to give you some extra advice too. And they'll also be there to make sure you're safe at like convention events.
Oh, 100%. I completely agree.
Accuracy isn't everything. You don't have to be perfect at every skill right now, and things take time. You will always meet someone who will find fault with your cosplay. Maybe something's out of place or the color doesn't match exactly, but you need to focus on you and how cosplaying makes you feel. Don't feel beautiful, strong, sexy, and empowered? If you look in the mirror, I mean really look. If you like what you see, even just a little bit, run with it. Things get better over time. Also, don't put too much emphasis on negative online comments. It's important to find disconnect from social media for a while, because your worth and how good your cosplay are doesn't always equate to how many interactions your posts get. Take it easy and enjoy way more. Cosplay is an open game. Same way you decorated avatar in a game is how you should go about cosplay. Just think about the character as a template. No one will ever be 100% canon, so have fun with it.
I'm happy that I'm a Blerd. It got me to like meet so many different people and make like so many different friends, and to give me opportunities that like I haven't been able to do without really stepping out of my comfort zone and like trying new things, meeting new people and stuff. Because without that, I wouldn't become like say like a performer. I wouldn't be like performing in masquerades and stuff and idol fests and cosplaying with friends, and being more open with my hobbies with my family and like my other friends. So I really think cosplay is like it's kind of been like a life-changing thing, and I'm glad I can have it.
I was trying to find some audios for the next cosplay I'm gonna do, and I saw a post about Ash, and it kind of just made me all sad all over again, because we weren't like super close, but we had spoken, and I considered them a friend, and it kind of just reminded me of why I'm doing this. For people who feel like who are feeling like how Ash felt, there's all this pressure and you can't escape, or people that are trying to get into this hobby, or people who just want to see themselves. It's rough. It's rough out here, especially for people that aren't fitting the beauty standard. But it's an abstract thing, and we hold so fast to that because some stupid arbitrary nonsense But at the end of the day, play. Play. It is fun. All the drama, all the nonsense, it doesn't matter, because what we're doing is a beautiful thing. We're bringing art, we're bringing light, we're doing all these fun things. And all of us, every single cosplayer, white, black, Asian, whatever, all of us, we're challenging a world that doesn't want to see this kind of expression. Because whenever you see any cosplayer out on the street in public, they're getting dogged on just because they're not fitting the norm. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things. We need to focus on that. And we need to focus on protecting each other, because genuinely, like, cosplayers are my favorite people. Everybody in this community has such beauty inside them, you know, such massive potential, great people that do great things. And we need to protect each other. We need to do good by each other. And we always need to be looking out for each other, period, point blank. That's all I got.
Things might feel rough at times. However, it's important to know you're going to be okay. Rock your cosplay, shine your creativity, protect your peace, and most importantly, have fun. Much love to all of you.